Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy II for the Nintendo Famicom system. Last episode, our heroes Fess, Maxine, and Booker managed to find a pendant that allowed them to communicate with the wyvern, the last remaining wyvern in Deist. Turns out that the king's fear that the Empire wiped out the Dragoons turned out to be true. Only one Dragoon survived, Rickard, and he apparently went looking for the ultimate magic. That's also what Minwu was tasked to do by the King of Finn before he passed away. And there was one wyvern left over, but unfortunately it was poisoned, but it did have a wyvern egg. It told us that, hey, you need to take this egg to the spring in the Deist Cavern, otherwise the egg will wither and die. So, we're going to have to do that, but unfortunately the Deist Cavern is pretty tough. It has a lot of those Hill Gigas monsters in, and some other very difficult monsters. So, to help us out to make progress in that dungeon, what we're going to do instead is we're going to go to Mysidia. It's the last village that we haven't visited yet. It's the village of the mages, and that's basically where Minwu went to. And we're going to get some good equipment there. It has all the magic spell, basically every magic spell in the game for sale, but we're not going to buy any magic there. But they do have some magical type gear that we want to get. We're also going to get a better bow for Leila. So we're going to get an ice bow. Then there's a flame bow available in the Deist Cavern, but it's way deep in the Deist Cavern. Yeah, basically almost at the end of it. So instead we're just going to get that ice bow, and that'll serve us pretty well. Then I'm also going to go to a different dungeon that we're going to learn about in Mysidia. So that dungeon's a little bit easier. It has basically like rank 3-4 monsters, where the Deist Cavern is like rank 4-5 monsters. So we'll definitely get our stats up, make us stronger to be able to better survive the Deist Cavern dungeon. So, but okay, so we're going to head to Mysidia. We're just going to head up to the snow plains and then head west from there. We'll probably pass by the small little island. We'll be checking our map occasionally to check things out. And then once there's a big desert, once we pass that big desert, we just have to head north, and that will take us to Mysidia. So I did a few things there. I pulled off the sword, of course, and I want to try to have Fess use the Asuna spell. It just increases his accuracy, because the sword has the biggest penalty. And then Booker, I just gave him the ancient sword just because it has lower attack value and also lower accuracy, in the hopes that he would miss, or if we did hit, it wouldn't do a lot of damage, and then Fess would have a chance to remove that poison from himself. But unfortunately, the Asuna spell did not go through, and so that means Fess couldn't gain any stats for that battle. So remember, B select pulls up the thing. Over to the northeast was the island. It's a really tiny little island. It's easy to miss, so when we go looking for it, we're going to have to consult our map a lot. So there's the Mysidian Desert. We're going to try to... there's a lot of tough monsters around Mysidia, like rank 5 and 6 monsters. So we're going to stay in the water as much as possible, so that our trek across land is as short as possible, so we can avoid those really tough enemies. Now, we could be able to take a few of them, depending on how many we run into or not, but just to be safe, we're going to minimize the amount of time. I tried doing like a test run. There's some good equipment. There's a dungeon that you can only do the first floor of right now, but it has 2 really good pieces of equipment to pick up. But unfortunately, it was just too tough to reach that cave. So yeah, monsters around here, very, very tough. So they hit hard, they give a lot of status ailments, so we're going to need to come back here when we have some better evasion, some better equipment, and some more hit points and skills to be able to take these monsters out. So like I said, we'll just stick to the water, and then there's going to be a little section where it kind of juts out a little bit. That's where we're going to disembark. And then we'll just cut straight across to the east, get to Mysidia. So, yeah, these sea serpents are tough, but much easier than the monsters that we would encounter, like I said, on on the land. So, well, hopefully Fess gets some knife skill soon. Like the shield, the Mangosh gives 5% evasion per rank level. So just like the ice, the ice shield actually gives 4. So actually the Mangosh gives a little bit actually more evasion. But of course he has such a low rank in it right now, Fess, that whatchamacallit. The best shield in the game gives 6, the Aegis shield. That also gives some good protection from different elements. So here's 2 new monsters. We got the Black Flans over there, rank 5, weak to fire. And then we got the Red Moose, which is weak to lightning. So Leila can take them out, and then Maxine can concentrate on her with the fire. Now, even though we're just going to take them out individually, because even though Maxine's been getting a lot of intelligence growth, if you multi-target, it's still not strong enough to take out the Black Flans, which is really unfortunate because they're very common around here, and they hit hard and they poison. So Fess is really stuck. He's stuck trying to heal. That's why I was trying to make it to that one dungeon I mentioned about. I was trying to heal with Fess, also to keep Booker alive. And then if he couldn't keep Booker alive, even if Booker didn't need healing, he'd be usually having to cast Ensuna to remove poison, and even taking off at rank 3 and taking off the sword and only having the 5% penalty with the Mangosh, his spirit is still low enough that it doesn't have very good accuracy. So I'm gonna have to get a few more levels on that Ensuna spell. So yeah, that's the problem. You can't really get too many spells in this game. Otherwise, you'll be wasting so much time trying to level everything up. So we don't get too many more new spells for Fess. So there's a potentially decent spell you can get. You can get Barrier, which raises your magic defense in Mysidia, but we're going to try to rely more on equipment to save us from status ailments. This is Mysidia, Kingdom of Mages. It's time to break the tower's seal. Here's the weapon shop. This is where we're going to buy that ice bow. Got some decent weapons there, but we're not training any of them. No, we're not training staves, spears, or axes. So look at how much, what was it, 31 points more attack, and it has much better accuracy than the dark bow. And it'll do extra damage. Like I said, 20 extra points of damage when we fight enemies that are weak against ice. So we're going to shift some gear around here a little bit. So, and we're going to get rid of the body armor, because in the dungeon that we're going to be going to, we can buy some body armor, some cuirass armor. Please read the many ancient books here. 3 artifacts protect the seal on the tower. A wizard named Minwu went to the tower. The statue of the gods beneath the city watches over the crystal rods. So yeah, we're gonna need the crystal rods, and we're gonna need 2 masks. Those are the 3 items that guard the thing. But you need the 2 masks in order to get the crystal rods. And the first of the masks we're going to have to get and put on this statue here. And then the second mask is in that island that we're going to be going to. And once we get those 2 masks and use them, then we can go to that cavern, that other dungeon I was mentioning about, that some good equipment, and we can actually go through it. The blast mask is kept on a small island, and that dungeon is where you can get the crystal rod. So many old books line the shelf. So this, you can ask it a keyword, and you basically read. The wyvern was trained to fly with dragoons, and a wyvern can carry up to 5 people. Deist was the home of the wyverns. Han, the first dragoon, spent 30 years alongside them. Long ago, a king asked for an indestructible lock and key. 3 were made. The first 2 were broken in 2 days. The 3rd key remained unbroken, so a king hid the key in a snowy cavern. The key was the goddess's bell. Long ago, a star fell to what became Kashuan. A man took the flame from the star and built an altar for it. Technological advances produced the airship. Technology could one day replace magic. It's like Final Fantasy VI. Strong and easy to forge, responsive to magic. And then two current things like Dreadnought and Wild Rose, they don't really have anything on them. Now, eventually, other future keywords we can get, we can come back here and learn more about them. So, to break the tower seal, find the two masks and go to the cave on this land. You'll find a crystal rod. Okie dokie. Here's the magic shop. I said pretty much all the magic in the game we want can pretty much be bought here. There's a few like ultimate spells that can't be, but so there's just the regular spells that we would have gotten in Altair. Spells from like Poft and Paloom. Here's some new spells. Holy is a good like white magic spell. It does base damage 15. But these are the spells that were available in Basque and Salamand. But of course, if we want to, use that, we'd be spending turns that instead of having Fess attack with his knives and building up that skill. So Fess is just, if he has to do damage, he's going to start to rely on his knives and his swords. So rather than build up that holy spell. So let's sell a bunch of this gear. And we can buy some gear. We're going to buy a bunch of the Thieves' gauntlets, and then we will buy some Giant's gloves. So, you can only, like I said, the Thieves give plus 10 agility, Giant gives plus 10 to strength. You can only have one of each, so you can't have, like, Thieves' gloves and then the gold pin to get 20 agility. It doesn't work like that. So I ended up buying the Giant's gloves because we can give Leila back her gold pin to get plus 10 agility, then give her the Giant's gloves, give her plus 10 strength. So we could have kept those giant helmets and given them to, say, Booker and Fess, but we don't want to weigh them down. We still want to build up their agility. So Leila in the back row doesn't need to worry about her agility, so that's why I don't mind throwing extra equipment on her. So let's head back to the boat, and we get another new enemy. It turns out I read the best area, and apparently these mines, they're actually rank 3, which makes sense, because the bombs, the red things in the back, they are rank 5, and they're, much tougher, so I guess there was just a typo in the best area that I was looking at, because the second best area that I was looking at said that, hey, mines are rank 3, the bombs are the rank 5, so bombs, as you can see, they're pretty tough. We couldn't even take them out with one hit with Maxine's fire. So, ouch. But luckily we had a preemptive strike, so we don't have to worry about them exploding on us. If it was just a regular battle, that mine in the back would have exploded and probably did a lot of damage to one of our characters. They're still not using armor. So yeah, we got the Thieves' gloves, but still, for the most part, most of our characters are, armoredless, so. But this way, though, the next time we fight the mine, we're able to attack it with some of our other characters to take care of it, so. Fire on the mine. And then we can thunder the mine, and those two should be able to thunder the bomb. That's basically, looks almost like the same kind of sprite that he's used in Final Fantasy IV. So, yeah, I played Final Fantasy IV, the one that was released for the Super Nintendo. It was Final Fantasy II, before I played Final Fantasy 2 and 3. But when I played Final Fantasy 3 and then went back and played Final Fantasy 4, I realized how many sprites were kind of lifted, so. But, makes sense. I mean, obviously they were updated, the sprites were updated to reflect the change from 8-bit to 16-bit graphics, but you can see the pixel template was still there, so. Yeah, it wasn't until, I guess, Final Fantasy VI that things got really, like, they changed the overworld sprites got, like, really big and more representative of what they look like in battle. So, they're still using like different tiny squished condensed sprite versions for 4 and 5, and then 6 changed up a bit. I guess it was toward the end of the Super Nintendo's lifespan, so they had 2 games of progress that they learned how to use the system. So better at coding and knowing what they could do, so it makes sense that graphically it would improve. So just like how graphics improved from Final Fantasy 1 through 3 here, you know. Final Fantasy 3 was actually one of the larger games on the Nintendo. They wanted to put as much as they could into it, so there's a pretty interesting article I read on the thought process behind it and some of the things that they did. That game brought up a bunch of new things as well, like summons and summoners and the Dark Knight class, paladins, so... But yeah, you see, as you play these games, you see some of the older ones that you might have skipped, and you realize where a lot of the stuff comes from in the future versions. So, yeah, those bomb enemies, they're behemoth enemies that we'll run into later on. They're a staple of the Chocobos, Sid, building airships, all staples of Final Fantasy that found their root in this one right here. So, here we can see some of the stuff that's like Fess looks like the fighter, and Booker looks like a thief from the last game. So, one of the nice things, they took out the little box that separates the enemies from the player characters in this one. So, remember in Final Fantasy 1, if you go back and look at my 2 Let's Plays of that, your fighting characters, your party characters are in a box on the right, and then there's a separate box for the enemies. So, they still maintain the black fighting background, though, that everyone thinks on. Apparently that was that helps them in Final Fantasy 3 for some things where where enemies get split in half. Helps with the effects, because they can like layer the effects on the black background. Alright, so it looks like we just have a little bit south and a little bit east. There is the little island right there. So yep, in the middle of nowhere. You wouldn't be able to find it if you really didn't have your map, and weren't kind of told that there's an island out there to look for. But hey, that's what I'm here for. And if you come back in the next episode, you will see how we go through this little cave, or at least part of it. Take care, have a good day. Bye.